Okay, I assume you've read and worked the problem on your own. I like this question. I think it's a really good AP question. It's challenging, but it has some easy parts, I think. So let's part A, find the relative min and justify. So you need to kind of explain your reasoning. Okay, so in part A, well, for starters, the derivative must equal 0 in order for there to be a min, max, or saddle. So looking here, here's the derivative. That's either going to be at -1 or 1. And then the f prime must go from negative to positive in order for it to be a min. So we go from negative to positive at x equals 1. 1 point for part A. Part B, I think, was pretty challenging. It says, is there a place C such that f double prime equals 0? Well, if it's asking me for when the function equals a value, that's the IVT. When the derivative equals a value, that's the MVT. But we have no test that says when the second derivative equals a value. So we have to kind of view this a little differently. We're viewing this as the second derivative is the first derivative of the first derivative. Okay? So we're actually going to do the MVT on the first derivative, not the function. Okay? So we can state that, yeah, we know that f prime is differentiable on, where are we at? -1 to 1, continuous on -1 to 1. Okay, and then we have to apply it, so we know that f prime of 1 minus f prime of -1 all over 1 minus -1 is actually 0, right? 0 minus 0. Okay. So by the MVT, f prime of, what do they use, C must be 0, or f double prime of Z must be 0 by the MVT. 2 points. It's kind of confusing because they use the second derivative there, but that's just an MVT question. Okay, part C, I think we should definitely get. We have H is this, find H prime of 3. So using the chain rule, let U be f of x. F of U is natural log of U. So we have 1 over U, f prime of x. So H prime is actually f prime of x over f of x. Now we are evaluating at 3. So H prime of 3 is f prime of 3 all over f of 3. Okay, so let's look. F prime at 3 is 1/2. F of 3 is 7. So I have 1/2 over 7, which is 1/14. And that was worth 3 points. So I thought that was 3 points we could definitely get. Okay, part D, find this integral. Hopefully you recognize this. That's straight off your Cintiq card. That is the definition of the chain rule. That is the result when you take the derivative of a composite function. So when let me get a new page here. So when I do the integral from -2 to 3, f prime of g of x, g prime of x dx, my antiderivative is just the composite function. Hopefully you recognize that from your Cintiq card. If I have from -2 to 3, so I have f of g of 3 minus f of g of -2. Okay, so let's see, g of 3, let me look at my chart here, is 1. G of -2 is -1. F of 1 is 2. F of -1 is 8, so I end up getting -6. That was worth 3 points as well. So I think definitely C and D were doable questions.